Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the White Family Innovation Center, where we always have fun things going on, like our wall deciding to go nuts today. I'll take care of a few housekeeping things for you, especially for those of you who've never been in our building before. Our bathrooms and our water fountains are out the back doors to the right, behind Blend's bowls. So if you need the restroom or you need a water fountain or fill up your water bottle, you can go that direction, okay? And the main exits, of course, or where you came in, out the back. I think we're gonna go with this plan for a little while, so I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the Watt Center for, working with this. I know it's always challenging when the technology isn't acting the way you think it is. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2025 final round of 3MT at Clemson University. Thank you for joining us today in person and on the live stream. My name is Antonia. I'm the Director of Research and Career Development of the Grad Student Government, that is a committee of the part of the Grad Student Government here at Clemson. Before we start today's competition, I believe that it's very important to mention a few people that have been integral to making this competition happen this year. First off, I want to start with the wonderful people on my committee. All of them are very busy grad students that have been taking hours out of their days to make today a great experience for our finalists, judges, and audience. I especially want to thank our deputy, Devinder, who you can find in the very back of the room, a little bit hidden away. He has been a great left hand throughout the semester. And I also want to thank Arohi, who may be on the live stream right now. She was the director before I was, and she has been great in getting me settled. I also want to thank GSG for your trust and support and letting me step up to this role. Today, you can recognize our committee by the matching shirts, and you will encounter them in a lot of different roles. There will be a few people at the doors, a few people putting in scores. Matt right here is also on my committee. You might recognize him from last year. Timekeepers and all of this. Please do not hesitate to go up to them if you have any questions. They should be your experts today. Secondly, we cannot go without mentioning the amazing support that we have received from the associate deans and colleges. Your commitment to grad student success and recognition means a lot to us, not just as grad students ourselves, but also in seeing this event come to life year and year again. For the staff, faculty, administrators, and you in the audience who have taken the time to be here today during the preliminary round and for the training modules, thank you. Whether behind the scenes or not, we see the continued support that you're putting in for our students and competitors. Finally, we've had the great honor to work with the grad school. Their unwavering support has been absolutely amazing, especially throughout this 3MT process. We couldn't have done it without you. I especially want to highlight Jenny, right there, Rebecca, who I think is outside, and Dean Lopes. Thank you so much for always helping us with a helping hand and a smile. Please help me in thanking them and everyone else with a big round of applause. Today, we have 14 top grad students from across the spectrum of grad degrees, disciplines, and colleges. Our finalists were the top scorers of the respective colleges, scored by a panel of 17 judges in the preliminary round, consisting of faculty, postdocs, and staff from the Clemson community. Finalists, we applaud all of your hard work getting to this point, and we look forward to hearing about your research. Oh. All 14 grad students will be competing to be the winner of the Clemson's 2025 3MT competition. The first place will be taking home $1,000 and will go on to compete in the regional competition. The second place will win $750, and the third place will win $500. In addition, we will also have 2 People's Choice winners, one after each half of the competition, and you in the audience will get to vote on this. The People's Choice Awards are sponsored by the Clemson University Research Foundation, CURF, and are worth $250 each. More information on the voting will follow after each half of the competition. So what will our competitors be judged on? There we go. Each competitor will be assessed on the judging criteria as outlined by the 3-minute thesis competition founded by the University of Queensland. Our 5 judges will be scoring each competitor in 2 categories: comprehension and content, and engagement and communication. This means that they will be observing whether the presentation gave a clear background, the research strategy and findings were well defined, and impact was clearly described. Under the category of engagement and communication, they are hoping to see a clear delivery that can be understood by a non-expert audience and enhancing PowerPoint and the presenter's enthusiasm. Topics that will be presented today demonstrate the expansive work covering the many different programs and research areas across Clemson. The judges will be focusing on evaluating our finalists' overall presentation, regardless of the methodologies, approaches, variables, or analysis that is being discussed. Before I turn over the microphone to the grad school to introduce our judges, there are a few housekeeping items to cover regarding the flow of the day. The schedule for the day was supposed to be visible. We will try to fix that as soon as we can. Basically, there will be 7 competitors up. You will get a great introduction to them from Matt, and then there will be a short break in the middle of our schedule. In that break, we will be doing the People's Choice scoring, and then we will move on to the next 7 competitors, and there will be another People's Choice scoring, the final scoring, and then we will do the award ceremony. Each finalist will have 3 minutes to present their research. As they are getting into the place at the front of the stage, we will show an introduction slide, including the name, title, degree, program, college advisor, whichever one applies. The 3-minute timer will start the moment they turn the slide and begin. So they will have a little clicker up here. There's a timer on this screen for everybody who can't see it right now, and they will be seeing the time. We will also be watching that the timer is within the limit. Following the conclusion of their talk, the judges will then have 3 minutes to score the presentation and provide feedback. If you're a competitor, we ask that you navigate to the right wall, 2 to 3 competitors before you are scheduled to receive your microphone and prepare for your talk. When we show your introduction slide, please move into place at the front of the stage. After you've concluded your presentation, you're free to leave the stage, and you can return right here to return your microphone. Judges, after each finalist, you will have 3 minutes to provide any comments. During this time, we will repeat the introduction slide as a reference point. At the end of 3 minutes, we will change the slide to prepare for the next competitor, and this will be a sign. Please note that the time frame of 3 minutes for the presenters is a hard stop, and competitors that go over 3 minutes will automatically, sadly, be disqualified from the competition. While we know that you might be here to cheer on specific competitors, we do ask that, if all possible, you stay for the entire duration of the event, as all of our grad students have worked really hard to be here today. If you do need to leave, we ask that you do it after a competitor is done presenting and while the judges are scoring, and that you exit through those back doors as the Watt Center indicated. Drinks will be provided during the event. As I said, during the breaks, we will have some snacks and drinks ready. We will stop for a break at approximately 3 o'clock, and we invite you to enjoy the appetizers and drinks outside. The Watt Center asks that you enjoy all food and drinks in the atrium and only bring water back into the auditorium. And finally, the aim of this competition is to arm our graduate students with the skills of public speaking and translating their work to a general audience. As they are excited to present their work today, please be respectful during all presentations and limit talking, walking around, and working on devices. If you haven't yet, now would be a fantastic time to put your phone on Do Not Disturb or on silent. And now I would like to pass over the microphone to the grad school.
Thank you, Tony. This is for tall people. There we go. I'm Dr. Jenny Pressgraves. I'm the Assistant Dean of Professional Development, Health, and Wellbeing for the Graduate School. And I have the great privilege of working with Tony, Matt, and the committee on this event. They have been fabulous. For a group of folks who've never put this on before, they jumped in and have done fantastic work. I also want to thank our friends, Rob and Pat Randall. They came and helped us today by hosting lunch for the competitors, helping them relax. Or do you feel relaxed? Did it work? Okay, great. So thank you so much for your time. But I also have another great privilege of introducing our judging panel today. So I won't make you all stand up, but if everyone will help me welcome. I have to say it's really hard to find the right people for this job because they have to think really deeply, they have to care about communication, and they have to be willing to come on a Friday afternoon, which is by far the hardest criteria. So we got the dream team this year of judges. So first, help me welcome Steve Johnson, who is the Program Manager for Academic Innovations at the South Carolina Research Authority. Next, we have Lisa Bona, who is Chief Business Operations and Strategy Office for the Division of Student Affairs here at Clemson University. We have Sue Schneider. Sue is a retired CEO and current member of the Board of Advisors for the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. We have Claiborne Linville. She's a freelance writer, editor, and marketing strategist and is currently a council member for Pickens County Council District 1. And our last judge, I kind of I'm a fangirl about. You can't work in Clemson's graduate school and not be a fan of Dr. Frankie Felder, who is Professor Emerita and Senior Associate Dean of the Graduate School at Clemson University. Thank you very much. We are so grateful to all of you to share your time with us today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to someone whose leadership is one of the reasons that we get to have events like 3MT. Dean Lopes, who is the Associate Provost and Dean of the Graduate School.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny, and thank you all for being here today. I want to also extend gratitude to the judges who are taking time out of their day to be here. It's a really difficult task to judge these things, as you'll see in a minute. All these presentations are going to be phenomenal, and it's often the case that the distinctions between the competitors is really, really small. Again, I also want to thank the Randalls. They've just been amazing supporters of the graduate school for the 5 years I've been in the role. In many different capacities. We're grateful that you're here again with us today. One of the things that we all really learn to appreciate is really great leadership, right? And I always struggle sort of when I think about leadership, like everybody, you can define it in a lot of different ways, but mostly you see it, right? You really, when somebody is really good in the role, you see it. And I think Antonia deserves a round of applause. She's done a great job. So, the 3MT competition is really near and dear to my heart. I think there's sort of two things that happen on a campus every year that I get totally geeked up about. This is one of them, and the other one's graduation, right, which will be happening in a few weeks. I think graduation's like the biggest party, and I feel like an honored guest every time I get to go to one of those. But this event is really special, in part because it touches something that I think is profoundly important in academia, and that's our ability to communicate, right? So we have taken for granted, I think for a very long time in the academy, the importance of being able to take the complex work that we do and communicate it to a broad audience. I never had to do it as a graduate student. I am positive I would fail miserably at trying to do a 3MT. But I think it is so incredibly powerful, and it's so important that we able to do this, right? And so we have been focused in the graduate school in a lot of different ways to sort of build up communication skills. 3MT has been around for a long time. It started at the University of Queensland. A couple of years ago, we started iGrads, which is sort of the video version of this. We'll be doing that in the spring. And that was started at Clemson, and we're hoping it'll pick up the same way that 3MT did. And then this past year, we did a third thing. We now have a requirement that every dissertation that's produced have a non-technical abstract, right? Something that anybody can pick up, read, and understand the complexity of what's in those documents. And just so you know, even though I probably would never do a 3MT, both I and the associate deans in the graduate school, we all broke out our dissertations and we did a non-technical abstract of our work. And I think the degree of difficulty was a little bit higher for us because for me, I had to remind myself of what I did 40 years ago. But still, nevertheless, we wanted to be able to showcase that this is important and it's something that we can do. So today, you're going to hear amazing competitors. They're winners just by being here today. But what I also want to illuminate for you is that the winner, right, will get to also participate in the regional competition at the Conference of Southern Graduate Schools. There's typically around 200 graduate schools represented all the way from Texas across to Florida up to Maryland. We have had amazing success at that competition, even winning it one year, placing in the finals another year. And we expect that our students will do really well there. There's a reason for that. The amount of preparation that we do on this campus for this event is unparalleled across all the other institutions. I know this because I'm in many groups with a lot of deans across South Carolina and across the ACC and other institutions, and every one of them has talked to us about what we do here, and they've copied it for their campuses. You know, we're the only ones running prelim events. So all the students here today already had to compete in a preliminary event. And we do a lot of coaching with professionals to get to this point. And then they're going to get even more coaching. You know, whoever wins will get even more coaching to go on to the next level. At the same time, they will also be presenting, the winner and the winners today will be presenting at Research Day at the end of this academic year, an event that's put on by Vice President for Research, Tanju Karenfeld, and highlights the research going on our campus. So almost everyone who's won this competition ends up doing it at least 3 more times, right, if not more. And what we really hope is that students understand the value of this, and they won't stop doing it just as a function of graduate school, that they'll really continue to do it throughout their career. You're in for a really fun time. Enjoy today, and let's make sure that every one of our competitors hears how appreciative we are. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for those great words. It is now my great pleasure to introduce last year's winner, Matt Harrington, who will be doing our introductions today. Matt, you might have to adjust this.
Yeah. All right, I do need to adjust it. You were correct. Well, welcome, 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 everyone. I am so glad that everyone is here with us today. It's time to get the competition started. So I will say one last thing to our finalists. I know firsthand how much work goes into this, but we can all take a deep breath together. You've practiced, you're prepared, and we are proud of you. Can we let our finalists know how much we appreciate them with one more round of applause to get started? All right. And with that, I would like to go ahead and introduce our first speaker. These are our judges. We love them. We appreciate them. Maybe? There we are. Wonderful. Our next speaker, from the College of Behavioral, Social, and Health Sciences, Praise Ayatollah Ayinla is presenting When Disaster Strikes, Who Should Step Up?
Gone. Your walls, the roof, your memories, all gone. All destroyed by a storm. Just last year alone, we faced 27 natural disasters. 27. And each cost more than $1 billion in damages. The pictures you see tell that story better than any number could. As someone who has personally experienced the devastation of floods, I sought to understand how communities can be best prepared against disasters. So I asked a simple question. When disaster strikes your property, who do you hold responsible? To answer this, I analyzed 6 years of data on extreme weather matched with surveys from 366 coastal counties asking their residents who should take climate action. What I found was absolutely fascinating. When floods destroy crops, people want everyone, from the citizens all the way to the federal government, to step up. When winter storms cause property damage, people want more from citizens and corporations. If strong winds cause personal injuries, people want more from citizens and government and less from corporations. And most interestingly, when tornadoes or tropical depressions cause damages or injuries, demand for action actually drops for everyone. So what does this mean? This means that people want climate action, but who they expect to act changes wildly based on disaster. And when such expectations vary, responsibility is unclear. But disaster doesn't wait for clarity. It strikes our neighborhoods whether we're ready or not. And readiness comes down to one thing: local climate action plans. These plans, things like flood barriers or rain gardens, are designed by local officials to protect your neighborhood. But across 6 coastal states I'm studying, several counties don't have plans. And for those that do, their plans focus on distant future goals and neglect current urgent issues like repeated flooding. So we end up with a gap. Public expectation is high, but local preparation is often not enough. And that's where you come in. Today, I invite you to do 2 simple things. 1, check if your county has a climate plan. And 2, see if this plan reflects the issues your community faces. And if your county doesn't have a plan, start the conversation. Talk to your local officials. Because when we do this, when we push for clear local action, we help protect our homes, our neighbors, and our future from disasters that are coming. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We will now take 3 minutes for our judges to finish up their scoring. You heard me right. The judges are also on a 3-minute timer. Got to keep it fair. I was going to say we could get some light jazz going, but we tried that earlier and the entire screen broke, so. And then for the judges, if you get finished early, just give me a thumbs up. Wonderful. You don't want me doing karaoke. I did theater, not musical theater. right. Looks like we are wrapping up. So we'll go ahead and move on to introducing our next speaker. Maybe just on one side of the screen. I'll give it, okay, great. Two sides, that's fantastic. All right, from the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Life Sciences, Mohit Goyal is presenting Inoculation of Microorganisms from Roots of Weedy Plants Imparts Drought Stress Tolerance in Corn.
Think about the last time you ate popcorn or corn on the cob. It's fun, it's tasty, right? And it actually comes from corn, a crop that gives us important nutrients like vitamins, minerals, fibers, and antioxidants. But there's a problem. Across the world, drought, or simply saying long periods without rain, is damaging corn plants. When corn doesn't get enough water, plants dry out, crops stay small, and farmers lose money. And because corn is an important food crop, drought also affects food availability and prices. So I started asking, is there a natural way to help corn survive drought? This led me to an interesting idea. There are some plants that grow in tough, dry places. The ones we usually call them weeds. They actually survive really well. No one is providing them water or special care, but still they grow green and healthy. How? Because the underground structures of these plants, commonly known as roots, are full of beneficial microorganisms. Tiny living things we can't see, but they help the plant to absorb water from the soil more efficiently. So in my research, I take these beneficial microorganisms from roots of a weedy plant and give them to corn. Then I put that corn plants under drought to see what happens. On the right side of the slide, you can see the results. The corn plants that received the microorganisms grew tall and healthy even with very little water, whereas the corn plants which did not receive microorganisms remained short, weak, and stressed. The difference is clear. These microorganisms act as plant supporter, helping the corn plants to stay strong even under limited water conditions. Why is this study important? Because drought is becoming more common in future, and farmers need solutions that are more affordable and safe for the environment. Microorganisms are natural. They don't require expensive equipment and can help protect food production and $1 billion of corn industry. My goal is to take a threat like drought, turn it into a manageable condition, making sure that the corn on the cob and popcorn in your hand continues to bring smiles to your face. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you again. All right, we will take another 3 minutes for our judges to wrap up their scores. And if we get all the thumbs up before then we'll keep on moving. Perfect, perfect. I don't have any cash on me. I can't tip him. Alrighty. I think that's all of our judges' scores for this last round. So next up, perfect, there we go. All right, so next up from the College of Education, Kristen K. Fink is presenting From I Don't Know to Inspiration, Teacher Professional Capital and Field Trip Planning.
Imagine a field trip, maybe to a history museum or a lab where scientists are working to find a cure for cancer. As a class walks into the facility, a student turns to their teacher and says, "Miss, why are we here?" Their teacher replies, "I have no idea." So this was an actual experience I had when I was a teacher. More than once in my 12-year career, I was tasked with taking students on field trips to places I knew nothing about. Each time this happened, I worried that the opportunity for an effective field trip was passing me by. And unfortunately, studies show that my experience is not unique. So my research asks why this might be so. I began my examination by reaching out to 4th and 8th grade teachers from across the state. Over 100 teachers responded to my questionnaire, and I conducted follow-up interviews asking teachers their experiences in planning field trips. Overwhelmingly, teachers told me they view field trips in a positive light, but their feelings about their own ability to plan effective field trips were mixed. While each teacher's experiences were different, I believe that what they all have in common was a lack in their perceived professional capital. Now, capital is a business term. It means a value or an asset to an organization. And professional capital, PC for short, is a way to view this value through the lens of education. PC is an overarching idea comprised of 3 types of capital: human, a person's skills; social, how they use those skills in collaboration with others; and decisional, how they make decisions. For example, in my study, multiple teachers told me they were unaware of the field trip opportunities available to them on Clemson's campus, demonstrating a lack of human capital. A teacher can't plan a field trip to a place they don't know exists. Multiple teachers told me they didn't have time to collaborate with their colleagues or site staff when planning field trips, demonstrating a lack of social capital. Research shows field trips are more effective when this type of collaboration occurs. Finally, teachers express frustration with their lack of decisional capital when planning field trips, including having to implement trips planned by other teachers, disappointment with poorly structured activities on site, and the burden of justifying the trip to their administrators. Viewed independently, these capital-related concerns might be easily overcome, but together, they demonstrate how a lack of PC can negatively impact teachers and students. To overcome these impacts, field trip sites like those on campus should reach out to teachers and offer collaborative professional development. Administrators should encourage teachers to plan field trips that connect with their standards, not just do what they've always done. Enhancing teacher PC will lead to better field trips, and better field trips will inspire the historians and scientists of the future.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, we'll take another few minutes for judges, and then we'll come back together. right, it looks like our judges have wrapped up, so we will move on to our next, there we go, to our next competitor. From the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Life Sciences, Jasanmol Singh is presenting Estimating Forage Biomass Yield using Field Robotics.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you all excited for the Thanksgiving dinner? I am very excited, but I am in a dilemma as well. Suppose you went to a newly opened restaurant in your city and you ordered a dish you liked in the menu. Now, till the time that dish is being prepared in the kitchen, can you all say with confidence that the dish will be able to fill your stomach or not? Probably not. There might be a case you say, this is not enough for me. I need to order something else. Or there may be a chance you say, oh, this is too much. I need a to-go box to take it back with me. Similar thing happens with forages and cattle. The cattle owners need to know if the forage being grown in their fields will be sufficient to fulfill their cattle feed requirements or not. Traditionally, farmers used to go to the field, and by looking at the forage, they used to say, I think this year I'm going to have like 5 tons of hectare of yield for my cattle. But what happens next? Either these estimates are underestimated or they are overestimated, which means at the end of the consumption time, either the forage is left unconsumed or cattle are left unfed. So this resulted in the introduction of some standardized methods that could easily and accurately predict the above ground biomass quantities. Now this is where my role comes in. We installed some sensors and cameras on unmanned aerial and ground vehicles, which we commonly call drones and ground rovers. Now these sensors and cameras used to go to the field, and on the forage, they used to capture the crop height and crop density. Now these crop height and crop densities are correlated with the actual harvested biomass quantities in the field to develop the prediction models. Now these prediction models are fed into the drones and ground rovers, which tell us how much biomass we have in the fields when these systems are measuring the crop height and crop density in the field. Our results indicated that our predictions were more than 90% accurate for Bermuda grass and more than 70% accurate for alfalfa. Now this helps in getting 3 major things. Number 1, the cattle are getting sufficient feed. Number 2, the cattle owners are getting expected profits. And number 3, the forage is consumed well. Thank you so much.
All right, same thing as last time. We'll give our judges some time to deliberate, and we'll come back together. I'm confident this is under control. Hooray. This was all part of the plan. We're letting the anticipation build for the next speaker, so you're even more excited. All right, wonderful. All right, well, thank you for sticking with us, and we'll go ahead and move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is coming from the College of Education. This is Marek Tashkar, who is presenting Aggression and Fouls in Ice Hockey, Impacts on Game Outcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you know that in ice hockey, an aggressive foul can actually lead and help you to win the game? Picture a player delivering a hard body check right through the chest, just few minutes in, but going to the penalty box. But instead of derailing his team, it fires the entire bench up, shifts momentum, and leads to victory. This claim challenges what we right now think about aggression in sports. Hello everyone, my name is Marek, and my research investigates how aggressive fouls impact game outcomes in ice hockey on college level and comparing men's and women's divisions. Hockey is a fast, tough sport where every detail matters. And during the play, you need sometimes the emotion, because aggressivity can help you to deliver this feeling. It can also lead to the penalties, which puts your opponent to power play advantage. However, does timing matter? Previous studies says that the more penalties you take, the less likely you are to win. But what if you would do it in the first 5 minutes of the game? You have still 55 minutes to work with. Well, let's look at the findings. I analyzed 119 games from most recent college national championship, and in men's side, 77% of games where the aggressive foul occurred in the first 5 minutes ended up winning. In Division 100. On the female side, only 20. Why? Because they emphasize skill. The rules don't allow them to hit. Men, they can do that. This research has implications that are very practical for coaches to motivate their players and train them to use an early aggressive strategy to gain an edge. However, at the same time, there is a safety part. I propose that we should help the players through anti-aggression programs, and the youth should imply women's rules in a youth hockey to help them to create still safe, exciting, and winning culture. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll give our judges a little bit of time to finish their scoring. Come back together. All right. Well, it looks like our judges have wrapped up their ballots for the most part, so we'll give it another few moments if they need. Wonderful. Okay. So we will move on to our next presenter from the College of Engineering, Computing, and Applied Sciences. Sai Teja Nakanti is presenting Turning Pollution into Products.
Every day we see a lot of cars and industries around us pump massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. For example, carbon dioxide, CO2, and methane, CH4. And we all know the consequence of this. So these gases wrap our planet like a warm blanket, which our Earth never asked for, and they end up heating up our planet. So we see a variety of problems because of that. For example, the melting of polar ice caps, which leads to rise in ocean levels, or the heat waves, which causes wildfires, which we have seen recently in California. And every year, a lot of my friends complain that this summer is hotter than the previous summers. So all these are not problems of tomorrow anymore. All these are problems of today. And we need to find solutions for this as soon as possible. So what if we can capture these gases from the sources and convert them into a treasure? So that's what my research focuses on. So we chemical engineers, luckily, can take these greenhouse gases and convert them into a valuable product through a chemical reaction. And in our case, we can convert them into something called synthesis gas. Synthesis gas in itself can be a building block to make many more chemicals and fuels that we all use every day. So to do this chemical reaction, we use a catalyst. A catalyst is a material which triggers the reaction. So we use nickel for this reaction. But the problem with using nickel is these greenhouse gases, when they start the reaction, they start to form solid carbon on surface of nickel. They eventually choke nickel and the reaction dies. So it's not a stable catalyst anymore. So our strategy was, what if we can give nickel a friend which can help it overcome this challenge? So that's when we gave it molybdenum carbide. You can think of molybdenum carbide like a Pac-Man, which can eat away carbon on surface of nickel, and it can keep the nickel surface clean and active. So when we actually ran the reactions, so this sad face here represents when we only have nickel, and the greenhouse gases start forming carbon, and eventually the reaction dies. But when we gave it its friend, the Pac-Man, we saw that the catalyst wasn't just more active, but it was also more stable over longer periods of times. So the takeaway here is very simple. So if we give a friend to nickel, we can develop a robust catalyst, which can make products such as synthesis gas, which are more sustainable, and we'll be able to convert a global problem into a valuable product, and hence turn pollution into products. Thank you.
All right, same thing. Take some time, let our judges do their judging. We'll come back together. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So we'll move on to our next speaker from the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Life Sciences, Shreya Sharma. Shreya Sharma is presenting Guardians of the Gut. Can probiotics help reduce foodborne disease?
Do you remember the last time your stomach was aching and you were swearing to yourself, I will never have that food again? Well, chances are it was bad bacteria, and even more likely, it was Campylobacter. Campylobacter is the leading cause of foodborne illness in the US, costing a staggering $8 billion loss. Campylobacter is mainly spread through chicken meat and products, but here's the catch. Campylobacter doesn't make chickens sick at all, it simply lives inside their gut, acting as silent carriers for more human infections. So, in order to prevent the spread in humans, it is important to stop the colonization in chickens. Traditionally, antibiotics have been used for it, but they come with this huge public health risk of antimicrobial resistance. In 2017, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, banned antibiotics in chicken feed, making it imperative for more antibiotic-free solution. So what is the solution? The solution is good bacteria. Good bacteria, such as probiotics, help fight against these bad bacteria for space and nutrients inside the gut, help strengthen the immune system, and maintain the microbial community inside the gut, a fancy term that we call the gut microbiome. I studied this very gut microbiome using gene sequencing and bioinformatic tools. That is to say that I study all of the genetic fingerprints of the bacteria inside the gut. Results show promising. They show a higher microbial richness, the number of beneficial bacteria, higher microbial diversity, higher diverse beneficial bacteria, and reduction of pathogenic bacteria that, like E. coli, Salmonella, and Campylobacter, which cause foodborne pathogens. It's almost like saying that the microenvironment inside the gut is such a well-maintained garden instead of the one that is ridden with weed. So the next time you grab a pack of Chick-fil-A, know that there are scientists like me who are trying to keep your food safe. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. If you could all please stay seated, we will do the People's Choice Award voting after the judges have turned in their ballots. So bear with me one more time, then we'll get some food and drinks, okay? Round of presentations, but I'd like to ask Tony to join me up here to conduct our People's Choice Award voting for round one.
Thank you, Matt. So It's almost snack time. I know we've all been waiting for that. But the very last thing on our agenda for round one is to vote on the People's Choice Award, sponsored by the Clemson University Research Foundation. So we have a QR code ready for you. You can scan it and select the competitor that you enjoyed the most this round. One thing to note is that this QR code is only going to be available for exactly 1 minute. It's not working. Oh. Great. Okay, 1 second while we figure this out. Can you all try now?
Good.
Good. Okay.
Wonderful. 60 seconds. Go,
60
go, go.
seconds. And then whenever you're done voting, please feel free to grab your refreshments. And we will meet back here at 3:25. It's not working. Okay.
It's working now. All righty. Everything should be working. Just make sure you've reset your phones. Scan, and then please do the honorable thing and only vote once. We have it set up to only vote once, and don't share this with anyone who did not come out today to support this crowd. Enjoy the refreshments. We will get started back here again in about 15 minutes. Absolutely, yes. Let me get out of your way. I'm so sorry. No. I want you to be in this picture. You're good. Well, welcome back, everyone. We'll take another few minutes to get everyone back in the room and settled, and we'll start with round 2, okay? We'll give it about 1 more minute and we'll get started. All right, I think we're all settled. So welcome back, everyone. I hope we all enjoyed the break. We are ready to begin round 2 of our 3MT finals. We have our final 7 competitors present. They're all excited to give you their talks. I'm excited to hear them. I hope you are too. So if the next few competitors could make sure that you are all behind there getting mic'd up, and if you're not, make sure you do. But we are ready with our next competitor. Perfect. From the College of Engineering, Computing, and Applied Sciences, Ananya Gupta is presenting Empowering Multilingual Social Media Post Authors with Translation Control.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ananya, and I am a user experience researcher, and I speak 5 languages. But most people I connect with on social media don't speak all of them. So platforms like Facebook these days automatically translate my post for them. Have you ever read a machine translation of post? Have you? So did it ever sound off or even embarrassing? I'm sure most of my bilingual colleagues here can relate to reading their parents' post on Facebook written in native language and seeing how they are translated or even mistranslated. I have an example for you all. Recently, Canadian Prime Minister wrote a Facebook post in French which got mistranslated as "I stand with President Trump," whereas the actual translation was "I stand up to President Trump." Imagine the confusion and misinformation that caused. And the problem is, people like you and me, the one who write post, we don't have control on how our translation looks like. So the reader, they can see the missing translation, but we as an author cannot check or fix it. So this lack of control can lead to misunderstanding, mistrust, and even disappointment. To explore this issue, I developed and ran a user experiment with 3 Facebook-like prototypes. One where participants could manually translate, one where participants see machine translation, and one where participants could see and edit machine translation, and also decide to include whether they want to include that when sharing their original post. I found that those who could edit translation, they felt more in control, trusted the system more, and also had a better user experience. After knowing that, I developed a Chrome extension for Facebook, which looks similar to the prototype, but with more control and also in a real Facebook environment. And this is what it looks like. This design solution supports freedom of expression online and also help build trust on how technology represents our voice. because everyone's voice deserves to be understood in any language we speak and also exactly the way we mean it. Thank you.
Just wrap up their scoring. If y'all, I talked to someone out in the atrium about what to do during this time. If y'all have any ideas you want to brainstorm and throw our way, we're happy to hear them.
Oh, okay.
Gotten trivia, karaoke, musicians. All right, and with that, it looks like our judges have wrapped up their scoring. So we're going to go ahead and introduce the next speaker. So from the College of Engineering, Computing, and Applied Sciences, David Madukwe is presenting Elastin Nanorobot Therapy to Reduce Aneurysm.
Before I tell you about my research, let's do this together. Gently pinch the skin at the back of your hand. Then let it go. What do you observe? Our skin snaps back, right? That's the power of a protein in our body called elastin. Now let's take a deep breath in and out. What do you observe? Our lungs contract as we breathe in and relax as we breathe out. That's the power of a protein in our body called elastin. This scenario equally applies to our blood vessel, the aorta, which carries blood from our heart to all parts of our body. With each heartbeat, our blood vessel stretches and recoils. That's the power of a protein, again, in our body, called elastin. So you can agree with me that elastin brings about what? Elasticity. But just like every other material, this elastin does not last forever, as it undergoes years of constant pressure and thus can be depleted. As we age, elastin is depleted. In different disease conditions like high blood pressure, elastin is depleted. Even as we smoke or under stress, elastin is depleted. Now, when elastin depletion occurs in the blood vessel, it causes that blood vessel to become weak and to bulge out like a balloon. We call this condition aneurysm. And just like a balloon burst, this aneurysm can rupture. And when that happens, the patient dies immediately. So this disease is a silent killer. In the US, for instance, 200,000 people above the age of 50 years are diagnosed with aneurysm. And 15,000 people die from ruptured aneurysm annually. Unfortunately, there is no cure for it until now. And so, we ask ourselves this question. We spend so much time trying to fix different things. Our bone, our phone, even our dear hearts when they are broken by our boyfriends or girlfriends. Then, why don't we fix a blood vessel before it breaks? But here is the good news. We've developed a drug, and on the surface of this drug, we attach a robot on it. The combination of the drug and the robot is what we call a nanorobot. When a patient takes in this nanorobot, it drives it to the site of the depleted elastin, where it binds on it and stabilizes it, thereby restoring the lost elasticity of the blood vessel. And this reverses the aneurysm automatically. We've done this therapy on the mice, and they were successful. We've done this on pigs, and they were successful. And we are currently doing this on humans. This is our goal. This is our mission. And this is our mandate: to preserve your elastin, my elastin. Thank you.
Great job, great job. We'll go ahead and let our judges finish up their ballots. Y'all wouldn't believe the amount of heat that comes off this screen. It's intense. That could be good, like a Price is Right kind of thing, or yeah. All right. Well, looks like the judges have wrapped up their scores from that competitor. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next presenter. Perfect. So from the College of Engineering, Computing, and Applied Sciences, Seifatun Noor Pushpo is presenting When Your Car's Brain Gets Distracted.
Quick question. How many of you have ridden a self-driving car Just raise your hand. Okay? Not many, that's all right. Let's try our best with the imagination. Think about a scenario. You are sitting on the back seat of a self-driving car, just checking some emails, relaxing. Your car is approaching a crosswalk. There's a pedestrian trying to cross the road, and suddenly you notice your car is not exactly slowing down. The pedestrian jumps back on the curb. Your car just passes like nothing happened. But there is a chilling question in the air. What was that? And my research looks for answer of this exact question. What was that? What happened? It might not be something dramatic like those Hollywood hacks, something more subtle, something more invisible. Maybe the brain of your car, the graphics processing unit, or GPU simply distracted by some extra unnecessary work. Ideally, the GPU processes all the data it gets from the car's camera and sensor and makes the decision for the car. But there can be sometimes some sneaky, malicious program using your car's power. For example, a digital freeloader can use your car's power to make some illegal digital currency. And what happens? These programs, they can make your car's brain to think slow. And this low brain can be very critical when there is a decision of like whether your car needs to stop at an intersection or not. It becomes a life and death situation. And in my research, I detected these hidden power drainers. I listened to the very heartbeat of the GPU. I see how it's using the power, how it's using its memory, how it's processing the data. And then I trained my artificial intelligence models to see if there is any shift or deviation from these healthy patterns. And my trained models, like a pro detective, it can find out whenever there is a shift from these healthy patterns. And not just that, for the next step, I'm working on isolating this malicious power drainer so that we can give the power back to the car to do what it's supposed to do, driving. And ultimately, my research is not just about cars. It's about creating a trust between us and the upcoming automation that's coming in the future. And the next time, when you step inside of a self-driving car, I want you to feel safe knowing that researchers like me working hard to ensure your safety. Thank you.
All right, we'll let our judges get started, and everyone can fill the time however you so choose. right. It looks like our judges are just wrapping up those ballots. Perfect. Okay. We will go ahead and get started with our next competitor. From the College of Education, Virginia Clark is presenting Wiring Attention.
Imagine with me for a moment a scenario I'm sure you've encountered every single day. You're sitting at a stoplight waiting for the light to turn from red to green, and as it turns green, you notice a car coming from the other direction doesn't appear to be slowing down. Your brain is processing everything that's happening around you, deciding what is most important to pay attention to so you can make the best decision. Do you stay or do you go? This ability of your brain to process everything, determine what to pay attention to, is a cognitive skill that we all must develop. But when does it develop? Well, we know that executive functions, which attention is a part of, actually develop all throughout the lifespan, but they're particularly important bridging childhood to adulthood, otherwise known as the teenage years. Do you remember the teenage years? Facial hair, voices changing, going to school one day and all of your friends were different heights than the day before. Puberty is also happening at the same time. But wait, there's more. Different brain areas can work together to create what we call networks. And these 6 networks and their corresponding brain regions have been shown to be connected to attention. So all of this led me to my question of, what's happening in the brains of teenagers as they're developing this cognitive skill of attention that we all need? So to do this, I'm using data from the National Institutes of Mental Health, and they're tracking 10,000 teenagers in the US for 10 years to ask these types of developmental questions. So results are very exciting, and I'm going to highlight 2. One, there seems to be a sex difference between males and females as they go through puberty and they develop this skill of attention. Specifically in females, the 3rd phase of puberty, called mid-puberty, which hits around 13 to 15 years of age, seems to be the most important in developing this skill. And that's a finding we did not find in males. Secondly, something is happening at age 11 in the brains of these teenagers. These 6 networks and all of their regions, the activity within each network, and then the activity between these networks all start to develop different patterns of connectivity in how they work, starting at age 11 all the way through these teenage years. But why would this actually matter? Well, this is important for us to understand what is happening in the brains and bodies of teenagers so we can better support them as they're sitting in classrooms every day learning, as they're deciding and transitioning into adulthood on where they might go to college or what job they might take, or also to make sure that they're equipped with the skills needed to drive a car. So the next time that you sit down to read a book, watch a movie, maybe go for a drive, or just learn something new, take stock of what is happening in the environment around you, because the way your brain is wired, it already is.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and give our judges some time to fill out their ballots and come back together. All right, our judges have wrapped up their voting, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next competitor. Wonderful. So this is from the College of Behavioral, Social, and Health Sciences. Jomia Ford is presenting The Invisible Toll, Black College Women and the Intersection of Academic Stress, Rest Deficiency, and Exhaustion.
Hello, I'm Jomaya, so I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about undergrad. I went to undergrad at James Madison University. I'm going to read y'all my resume. I was a resident advisor, president, vice president, special events coordinator of Black Student Alliance, on about 3 accountability and student accountability boards. I was a Hart School ambassador for my department where I got my degree in sports and recreation management. Oh, I only have 3 minutes, so I'll stop there because I don't have all day. So that prompted me to come here. Took a gap year, I worked, did all the things, and then my professor called me and said, hey, I think you should talk to somebody at Clemson. I said, okay, cool. Applied, got in, here I am. Research, big research school. I said, well, what are we gonna research about? I said, well, let me think about my life. Thought about just the exhaustion and the stress that I had being at James Madison University, doing all the things, being a Black woman, in all the spaces and places that I was in, trying to provide resources for other minority students on campus, for them to be able to have the experience and a good experience being at James Madison University, which was a predominantly white institution, as well as Clemson. So that prompted me here to study Black women and their experiences with academic stress, going to school and doing all the things, but also being able to step into spaces and make resources for other college students, for themselves, to be able to have a good college journey at a campus that may not have many people that look like them, think like them, or wasn't necessarily made with them in mind. So therefore, it brought me here. So number one, I could relate to them because I was a Black woman who also was in higher education, whether that be grad school or undergrad. So I wanted to interview them. I wanted to be able to relate to them and have them have a space where they could release this information to somebody who looked like them and was able to, understand the stressors and things that they were going through. So I did about 17 interviews of graduate students as well as undergraduate students to understand their experiences being here at Clemson University. They told me many things, and I'm still doing the coding process, so we'll see all the things that come out, but they were just talking about this was a reflection time for them. And some of them felt like they weren't being heard in the department, they weren't being heard in the resources and the space that they were in, but I was that liaison for them to be able to be heard somewhere. Because there isn't much research about this topic with Black women in general and Black women in higher education specifically. So I wanted to be that one to open that door and open that bridge for research fields everywhere. So therefore, they could release that information to me, and I could release that information to other platforms. So right now, like I said, I still am coding this information, but thus far it has been great and a big reflection space for me as well as these students, for them to be able to see the work that they've done and know that there is time for them to be able to step back and have fun in college and make sure that they're doing all the things and living the life that they want to live, while also being able to provide the resources for other people. So just know, live, laugh, love. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. We'll take some time for our judges to do their scoring. We're getting close to the end here. It's been great. Alrighty. Well, it looks like our judges have wrapped up scoring that round. So we will go ahead and move on to our next finalist. From the College of Behavioral, Social, and Health Sciences, Olalekun Tunde Ajayi is presenting Keeping Forests Forested, Empowering Private Landowners Through Conservation and Voluntary Carbon Markets.
Death is looming. Yes, you heard me. Death is looming. And no, I do not mean to anybody in this room. I mean to our trees. And I can see the look of relief on your faces, because as far as you're concerned, it's just to the trees. But that's tragic. Why? Because these trees produce the oxygen that you breathe in. They serve as natural barriers between water bodies and our cities and protect us against hurricanes, floods, and most importantly, they help trap excess carbon from the atmosphere that could be dangerous to our health. But sadly, private landowners that constitute majority of South Carolina landowners are beginning to sell off their lands to developers who then raze down these trees and put buildings there. This is causing untold harm to the environment. And while we might be quick to judge and point accusing fingers at these landowners and call them the villains in this story, have we asked why? Why are they selling these lands? They're economically disadvantaged. They just want to survive like you and I. So now we know that our proposed solution has to go beyond conservation education. But can we provide alternative livelihoods for them? But there's hope for redemption. Voluntary carbon markets. And this is a market where companies pay for releasing excess carbon into the atmosphere, and landowners get paid for conserving trees that trap excess carbon from the atmosphere. This is proven successful in Africa, Asia, South America, but not in the United States. Why? Because we believe people don't really know about it, and we want to fix this. So we are doing this by distributing surveys to our landowners to understand what they do not really know, followed by workshops to train landowners about voluntary carbon markets, as well as focus group discussion to ensure enrollment in voluntary carbon markets. Now, the value that my solution brings is threefold. One, giving our landowners a second chance at life through income generation. Two, ensuring that our companies continue to function without worrying about environmental pollution. And three, achieving a healthy ecosystem where you and I can thrive. Because as we're saving our trees, we're saving our lives. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll let the judges continue with their judging and come back together for our final presentation. right, and with that, it looks like our judges have finished up judging the last competitor. So we will go ahead and move on to our final competitor of the afternoon, I think it's still. From the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Life Sciences, Mustafa Ahmed is presenting Egg Vaccines Fight Food-Borne Illness.
Before I start talking about my research, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had abdominal ache after having chicken meal? Yes. Have you wondered why? That's because of tiny harmful bacteria that sneak into our food and make us sick. In the United States, 1 out of 6 people gets infected annually with food-borne pathogens such as Campylobacter. Chickens have a high number of these bad bacteria in their gut. They are there, causing no harm to chickens. However, when it's transmitted to human, it causes a disease, particularly in people with weak immune system. So, the aim of my research is to develop a vaccine strategy to reduce the count of these bad bacteria and prevent their transmission to human. However, there are many challenges to set up a successful vaccination design in a chicken, such as selecting the candidate vaccine and how to introduce it safely to chicken's immune system in applicable way. Think about 10,000 birds at the farm level. How to vaccinate them? Will you vaccinate each single bird by injection? It wouldn't be applicable, right? And even if you deliver the vaccine orally, it will be broken down by the stomach acid. So, we encapsulated the vaccine into chitosan nanoparticles, which are safe, natural, cost-effective, and most importantly, it coats the vaccines and makes a protective layer to prevent its broken down in the stomach. And also, we deliver the vaccine inside the egg before hatch to provide an early protection to the chicks. And also, it's a feasible approach because 2 people can inject up to 50,000 eggs per hour. The outcomes of this experiment so far indicated that the vaccine stimulated the chicken's immune system and increased the antibodies in their blood and reduced the number of the bad bacteria in the gut. Our next phase is to use beneficial bacteria, probiotics, alongside with the vaccine to maximize its effect and reduce the number of the bad bacteria in the gut of the chickens and prevent their transmission to chickens' meat and provide a safe meat product to society. Thank you.
All right. So that was our final speaker, but please stay seated for a few moments for the judges to wrap up their ballots. We will do People's Choice Award voting for round 2 after that, and then we'll give you a break for a little bit longer to get some more food, some more drinks, and come back together and hear the winners. All right, our judges have concluded the last part of their voting. So that also concludes all of our presentations for 3-Minute Thesis today. Please give our finalists a round of applause. And at this time, Tony, if you could please join me up here for the People's Choice Award voting.
Okay, let's try this one more time. You will have 1 minute to vote. Then I will stop the survey. Please let me know if it's working. You will have 20 minutes for a break. There will be sandwiches, salads outside. So please go ahead and eat, and then be back here at 4:35 for the award ceremony. If you want to take this break to think about your Friday night activities, we will be going to Soleil after this, just as an informal gathering. Whoever wants to join us is invited to join. Voting has concluded. Please find your food outside.
We did it. We survived. I'm so sorry.
Welcome back. We're going to do awards now. If everybody could get to their seats, that would be amazing. Just as a quick reminder, well, first of all, we're very excited to announce these awards. And the first place winner will receive $1,000 and will go on to represent Clemson at the regional competition in Louisiana. The second place will receive $750. The third place will receive $500. And the two People's Choice Awards winners will receive $250. Winners, when we announce your name, please join us at the front of the stage to receive your check and for a photo opportunity. At this point, if the judges could join us up on the stage so
Good
that...
afternoon. The Watt Center will be closing in 5 minutes. The building will be open on Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Please make your way to the exit, and thank you for visiting.
Scheduled message, y'all can ignore that.
We have to be quick.
Yeah, ignore that.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, if you could join us just to receive this year's winners, that would be amazing. And I'll hand it over to Matt.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. As our judges get gathered up here, I hope everyone's ready. Are we all excited? Yes? Yes! Okay. Amazing. All right. Okay, so the first awards we're going to be announcing are the two People's Choice Awards. We do want to be clear that winning a People's Choice Award does not prevent any finalist from still placing in the top 3 of the competition. You can do both. The scores of the audience and the judges are tabulated separately. So with that, the winner of the People's Choice Award for round 1 of Clemson's 2025 3-minute thesis competition is Praise Ayatollah Ayinla. Wonderful. All right, give just a moment for everything to move around. Perfect. Okay. So now, the People's Choice Award for round 2 of Clemson's 2025 3-minute thesis competition is Olalekan Tunde Ajayi. Right. Okay. Well, now is the time we've all been waiting for. We've made it. Our top 3 winners chosen by our panel of expert judges. Congratulations to all of our competitors on advancing to the finals. Everyone has done an incredible job. But with that, our 3rd place winner of Clemson's 2025 3-minute thesis competition is Mustafa Ahmed. Fantastic. And our 2nd place winner of Clemson's 2025 3-minute thesis competition is Shreya Sharma. All right. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Our 1st place champion of Clemson University's 2025 3-minute thesis competition is, a little drum roll, maybe? Olala Kuntunde Ajayi. Amazing, amazing.
Great job, everybody. That is the end of our 3MT competition. Thank you all so much for being here. To all presenters, you did a fantastic job. I know I couldn't have done half as well as you. We will now be gathering at Soleil after we take some photos here. For anybody who wants to join us, you're more than welcome to. If you want some photos taken in the front, if you're a winner, please feel free to join us.
So good. What's up? Oh, for committee? Oh, could all of the winners come to the front and get a picture? All of our wonderful, wonderful winners. God bless. This is the one that I coached.